We're going live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Molitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. It is officially tennis season in the Whale household. We're watching a lot of tennis. We're not getting a lot of sleep. It's been a winning Aussie Open for me. It's been fun. It's a little bit of drama last night. I was very much disappointed to see Nadal blow that to Tsitsipas, but at the same time, it feels important that the next generation actually gets some wins against these old men and really, take the throne that is warranted in terms of, owning the tour, moving the generation on. But we're going to talk heavy-duty tennis today. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Andy Molitor, and we bring our favorite tennis guest, bar none. I don't even know if there's a close second. There's not. Ball Boys reunion here. Mr. Kelly Garrett, at Big Ten Watto fame, Mr. Transparent himself. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is probably, number 6 or 7 we've done so far. Always glad to see you and have you back again. Welcome back. How are you doing tonight, Kelly?
I'm good. I probably should change the Mr. Transparent part. I forgot about that.
Well, I mean, there was that time, and I think we can all recall where we were when you decided not to recap that day for it was like 30 minutes after the matches. That guy was mad though.
Yeah.
It's funny that you rolled with a bit that long.
I should probably kill it now. Yeah, I kind of forgot. I just
don't even remember what it's about. So
fades into the background. That's funny.
Yeah. But no, this should be a good complimentary podcast with our evergreen one on Monday, where we talked about free picks. Kelly has been a pillar in the free picks community, not just posting what he's playing, but giving people detailed insight, free numbers, and useful angles and strategies to handicap tennis. So we're going to talk some Aussie Open tonight. We're going to give out some of our own free picks, free tips, whatever. But even more than that, we are going to talk process. I have a lot of questions for Kelly about how his process has changed over the years, because this is your 3rd season blogging every single or 4th, 3rd or 4th.
Why even do it? I don't know.
Everybody just scrolls to the bottom, man.
The labor of love. But yeah, no, this is many years now handicapping tennis. I'm curious about the changes in your process. You burst on the scene during the pandemic and the quarantine specifically as kind of the guy to go to read breakdowns of matchups for NASCAR. So we'll get a couple little NASCAR preview at the end there. But before we get into it, how has this fortnight treated you now that we are at the business end of the Aussie Open?
I posted yesterday in my blog, I am dead nuts even. I was 26 from 26 minus $50. Like, I could have just slept through the Aussie Open and wouldn't have affected me at all. It's
that would have been. I did that last night, and Drew alluded to the match. It was, he hadn't won the second set yet, but Nadal had broken, taken the first set, had maybe double break in the second.
Double break, yeah.
And I'd done the, fall asleep in the chair thing. I wake up, I had a couple people start on Flash Score. I wake up and I look, and lo and behold, they're in the 5th set. I said, what the shit happened here? And then not only that, but then I quickly checked, because sleep has eluded all of us here with overnight tennis. But also, my one basketball bet from last night was like the latest West Coast game of all time ever too. So I'm quick scrambling. You know that feeling when you wake up and you bet something overnight and like, oh my God, how did basketball do? Oh my God, how did tennis do?
It's not like it was close, right?
Oh, I actually went back and looked too. Like I bet an underdog. They were up by 6 late, and they ended up pissing it away and just covered by the hook. So that was nice. The Nadal, the Nadal result was not nice from a future standpoint on my end, but it is nice to see, like Drew said, some of these young guns making some moves. We will eventually here. We will catch up with the women. The glass ceiling is in tennis is in the men's side because none of these young men can break through it. It feels like we just have the same people over and over winning these. Yeah, whereas women, we have how many different champions over the past 5 years in the women's slams, the S load. In fact, some of them have like become terrible already since
they've already cycled out. Yes,
yeah, they've already cycled out. Like Sloane and Ostapenko, like they're bad now.
Yeah, they're never winning another slam. I totally agree. On top of that, like I think I was talking to Andy, if my audio is still problematic, let me know. I'm having problems with my video too. I might be resetting here at some point, and this might be a True Ball Boys reunion, just the two of you for a hot minute while I reset stuff. But
we should leave Kelly all by himself. The True Ball Boys, remember that?
That happened once before.
But yeah, no. Let's. The general. The general feeling. You have to go back to 2004 French Open to find a real long shot that ended up winning a men's slam.
Love how you grabbed that. That's totally the right one too.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's been since then because since then it's been Federer, Nadal, Djokovic in that order in terms of total titles. And you've had a decent amount of a couple, 3 for Stan. You had a Del Potro in there. You had a couple of Andy Murrays in there. You had a Cilic in there randomly. There was a couple of random ones, but not like real long shots, right? And then Team finally breaks through, finally snaps the streak of the big three last year at the U.S. Open. It was huge. And here we go. It's tough to say if the state of tennis is in good shape. I feel like it is. I feel like this is a perfect time where you have sort of this matriculation of the older players, the up and coming new players, a lot of uncertainty on the men's side, which should be exciting and fun. And I guess what is your general temperature of the state of tennis, Kelly?
Like player wise, breakthrough wise?
Everything, man.
I am so ready for the big three to be over. Like, anytime now would be great. I wish it had happened last year. I know team won, but Drew's leaving. He's matriculating off the screen.
Yeah, no, the team won. I think that was big. Hopefully, it's not like you can say that's like, oh, now the dam's going to open. You still have to beat these men every single time, at least one of them, and eventually Fed coming back. But boy, it did feel like it was a move in the right direction for wide open tennis.
I wish he had beaten Djokovic. That's kind of why I wanted Nadal to win last night, because even if, like, let's pretend like the impossible is going to happen and Karatsev beats Djokovic and Nadal beats Tsitsipas, or Tsitsipas beats Medvedev, or Medvedev beats Tsitsipas, and one of them plays Karatsev in the final and wins, they're going to have the same asterisks beside their name that team has. And I don't want that to happen. I want them to slay a giant on the way. I have a future on Medvedev. He was my pick to win this tournament back in like November, December, when he won the World Tour Finals, which I also had an outright on, which was nice. I had team. So
good, nice job, Kelly. Nice job.
I wanted him to win this tournament. I thought he was going to break through here. I had read the courts were going to be faster. A lot of people don't seem to remember that the reason team had such a breakthrough at the Aussie last year was because they dramatically slowed the course down.
Great call.
And like, that's why he had that surprise final. He never usually does that good in the Aussie. And this year they sped it back up. And of course he was out in the third round. I think though, just as an aside, he'll do great again at the Aussie, or at the US Open. So get your team US Open tickets ready again.
Ooh, back to back.
Yeah. He should have won it in 2019 when I had the first outright on him. If he hadn't gotten sick. He was in
Sure.
great form.
Oh yeah, that was a classic Kelly curse.
He was.
You'd bet it
He
like
wasn't great.
3-4 months in advance.
Yeah.
And we were, you were hyping it up and it was feeling
got
good. It was
sick.
looking good. He was playing well. And then it's like, oh, he's got the flu.
Yeah.
That was in the first round. But I do think Medvedev can win this event. The way he's playing right now, he looked like balls to the wall against Rublev. There was no let up. There's always, when another player is sick or not playing well or takes an MTO or just looks lethargic on the, like Monfils does it all the time to people. He plays possum and it throws the other guy off. Rublev was like visibly in pain last night and just leaning over his racket, crouching down. He went in and like took a shower in between.
He took a fucking shower.
Yeah, he was so out of sorts, but Medvedev didn't let it bother him. He just kept steamrolling over top of him. Yeah. And there was a shot where I knew that he was like just in the zone at the start of the third set. It was in the second game when he broke Rublev. He ran to the net to finish the point off. And as he turned around, the camera was zoomed in on him and he did this little smirk. He just went like this little sly smile to himself. Like, I don't think he knew the camera was on him. He was looking down and he's had this little like smirk, like, yeah, that's right. I did that. And that's what I love. Like just the inner self-confidence, not cocky. He's not dancing around like Nadal with the fucking arm pumps all the time. Like little sly smile to himself. Like, yeah, that was an amazing shot. I just did that. And he walked back and like aces out the next game and ran away with the. So I hope he plays. I hope Djokovic doesn't get upset against Karatsev.
You think that's realistic? Well, we'll get to Karatsev. We'll get to Karatsev. Hey, hold on.
I guess my larger point is, just to speed this up, I don't want the asterisk. I think Thiem is forever going to have the first. It's going to be like Osaka when she beat Williams, and all kinds of people were making excuses about the line judge and shit. I don't want any of that. I want a legit next gen guy beating one of the Lions on the hill and no
in a final.
Ooh. Yeah, in a final. So whether it's like, I hope it's Medvedev for my pocketbook, but if it sits past, that's fine. Whatever. Just somebody beat Djokovic in a final in Australia, which Andy Murray failed to do 5 times. Like, let's just have somebody beat him. And that's a legit check mark where you can say the next generation's finally begun. It's got to be this year.
Yeah. Oh. If Dennis Istomin can do it, why not Medvedev?
Yes.
Right.
Sidebar on the Russians. Is Rublev's brain now broken?
I have a lot of takes on this. I have lots of takes.
Medvedev.
I have lots of takes.
He's not. He like just taking a step back, comparing these two players, pretending they've never played each other before. Medvedev is the more skilled player. Medvedev is a better player in a lot of facets of his game, but Rublev is not that far behind. But every time now, it's just like, oh, he's toast.
Dude,
like I don't know if it's a mental block at this point. It even if it wasn't a mental block, every time he does this, just gets straight setted, it has to get worse. Like, and it is, we talk about this. I spoke about this with Alex the other day. Like, man, it's rough. Like, you lose the Super Bowl, you walk off with 52 other guys and a bunch of coaches. When you lose you're on Margaret Court, and you lose, and there's a camera following you. Somebody doesn't even carry your damn bag. You're carrying this giant bag, looking sad. The cameras follow you through the tunnel. You're out there all by yourself. Like it's awful losing a tennis match. It looks like. I've never lost a tennis match because I've never played one competitively.
It was not a perfect storm for him to get the upset yesterday whatsoever. It was in the heat. He uses so much more power than Medvedev. I mean, the degree to which Medvedev is a more natural player and he gets it all back. He'll frustrate you if you're trying to get, if you're determined to win a point and you're at, you're at 6,000 RPM, and he's just getting it back. Like, you're going to overheat. And that's what happened to Rublev in that, they had that 143 shot rally or whatever it was. And that was, game set match at that point. He's cramping in the third quarter. I noticed that smile you brought up too. And it was funny because like did you hear any of his post-game press? He was basically like, yeah, I was pretty psyched. Like, nobody makes Rublev cramp up, and I did it.
I did it. Yeah, he was happy that he didn't.
That's some psycho killer shit. And I love that. And, and a guy that you want to back in Grand Slam best of 5. Granted, if they don't play, much on the clay, if they don't play much, if they don't play at Wimbledon, if they don't play again until the American hard court swing, Rublev's in trouble. He's gonna have trouble against Medvedev on these medium speed to fast hard courts because Medvedev gets it all back, and his serve is good enough that it's not easy to get damage on him. But if Medvedev runs up, if Rublev runs up against him in like let's say Madrid or Hamburg, or what were you thinking?
Rome.
Well, Rome. Oh, Rome would be nice. Yeah. But if it's on clay, where Rublev moves much, much better than Medvedev on clay, then he'll get him, and then he'll start to kind of level the. It'll be like Rublev will be like the clay guy, and or at least in that head to head, and because I do think he has an advantage over him in certain situations, but it's not going to happen at a Grand Slam. It's not going to happen in best of 5. It's until he breaks through at some lower level type of events where the stakes are a little lower. Because I agree with you, Andy. If the next time these two guys play and it's at the U.S. Open or the Tour Finals, forget about it. He's going to lose in straights again. Like it's just the mental aspect is real.
Even Wimbledon, I don't think he can take him on grass right now. Like I would prefer to see him get a win on clay. Like if they meet in one of those, there's those series of high end clay events before Roland Garros. If they meet one of those spots, you could see him. Especially, I think it would be better if it were best of 3, because I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Best of 5 against Meds is tough right now. I don't have any futures alive on the men's side right now. I'm tempted to take a Medvedev one just to cheer for him, or at least just bet it twice and roll it over. I do hope I'm with Kelly. I hope it's Novak. Again, I don't have financial stake in that, but as far as a tennis fan, and if I wanted to watch it, and again, like Kelly said, it's stupid. Like it's a stupid fucking point you're making, Kelly. But I get it. Like, it's no, so dumb. But it's so dumb. But I get it, and it makes sense. And I agree with your stupid point. Like it is different. If you slay a giant when you take someone down, it's like an asterisk on the good team from the other league didn't win. You beat some weird upstart in a World Series or a Super Bowl. You didn't have to face, the Chiefs at their high end, or like a team wins and maybe one of their starting pitchers or a quarterback is out for the big game, and you beat a team when they're not at full strength. Like there is that little asterisk on there. And we'll get to Karatsev here, and I don't think he can upset it, but I didn't think he'd win the last 3 matches. So God knows what's going to happen.
Let's do a little autopsy on Nadal Tsitsipas.
Well,
unless you have a retort
for a second. And I want to just touch on Rublev. You mentioned him beating Medvedev on clay, and you mentioned Madrid. If they were to meet in Madrid, that would be the spot. It's elevated, and Rublev's serve would play up much better there. I don't know if anyone else noticed, but Medvedev is fucking jacked. His arms are huge. He has put it like
they got him on that Russian shit.
Yeah, he's on.
He was skinny a couple years ago.
They got all these guys on that shit.
Yeah,
the pandemic was good for them. I'm just gonna say it.
He's huge. He's got huge guns.
I'm just picturing that scene in Rocky 4 where they're training and Drago's like punching the thing and it goes up to 2,000 pounds and they're injecting him and he's sprinting and then Rocky's like running in the snow.
That's definitely Rublev. I tweeted out in the second set exactly what you were talking about, Whale, that it was like I compared it to Ali and Foreman. Like Rublev was throwing everything at him 6,000 miles an hour, and Medvedev just kept getting it back, and he eventually wore him out. Like he legit cramped up, and it was exactly that strategy. Just rope-a-dope, just let him keep coming at me, and I'll wear him out. Until Rublev changes his thinking and looks at a different method, I don't think he can beat him unless it's in a place like Madrid, where he's a little better on clay and he can serve his way through Medvedev. I think that with the Slay the Dragon thing, I would just mention the fact that, because I find any reason to bring up Wawrinka, but that's why he's so venerated. That's why people love him so much, because in each of his 3 slams that he won, he beat Djokovic.
He did, convincingly.
Took out the best guy in the tournament every time. So,
did he ever beat Nadal at RG? I don't think he did.
No.
So, Yeah, but the U.S. Open win he had over Djokovic was freaking awesome.
And
Speaking of slaying the dragon,
multiple
great
wins.
segue. Speaking of slaying the dragon, great segue. Young Stefanos Tsitsipas, the Mimbo on tour, slayed the dragon last night, beating Nadal. He struggled against Nadal every time he faced him. Until 2 and change sets last night, and then all of a sudden the switch flipped.
2.9 sets.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the tiebreaker.
Yeah, it's still the tiebreaker. And honestly, freaking Nadal hits some of those overheads. Freaking Nadal makes that, a couple of those forehand passes, which he makes in his sleep. It's a 3-0 slam. And, we can talk, wax poetic about will Tsitsipas ever break through against Nadal because he's in his head, right? Yeah. Well, it didn't work out that way. And a lot of it, in my opinion, was the conditions changed a bit. It got cooler for sure, which took a little bit of the pop off Nadal's ball. That leveled things a little bit. Obviously, once Tsitsipas had a set under his belt, he played a lot more comfortably. His serve was, was quite devastating in that fourth set and most of the fifth set. And he kept his composure. With the serving to win the match in the fifth. And credit to him. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't expect him to get that upset. His game reminds me so freaking much of Roger Federer. It is crazy. And I know that he fashions himself in that mold as well. And he's playing into that. And that's making it all the more likely. If we handicap this Tsitsipas Medvedev semifinal as Joker light versus Federer light on insanely fast hard courts, who has the edge? Is it Medvedev?
I took Medvedev. -4 games.
-4 was the line. Oh, ooh,
yeah.
Wow.
And I think that your comparison is super apt. Tsitsipas is a massive serve first guy. He's holding serve the most in the tournament. He's 95% right now. I wrote about that this morning. He's only been broken 4 times in the whole tournament, which is incredible. 95% is crazy. But he also is, I write about this all the time as well, the guy in the top 10 who breaks serve the least. He struggles to even maintain a 20% break percentage. He just doesn't get through serve very often, which is why I was surprised he beat Nadal. And I guess it's not surprising it took a tiebreak to do it, to break through. I think that Medvedev is the guy who breaks serve the most. He's trailing Karatsev, who's just having we'll get to him, I guess. But Medvedev's breaking serve almost 40% of the time, 39, which is crazy on a hard court. That's Djokovic in his peak kind of numbers, which is why I think he'll beat Tsitsipas, just the way Djokovic always beats Federer. It's because he can eventually break the serve down. Your serve has to be so perfect all the time. Tsitsipas has he's in double digits for double faults. He's 15-ish already. If you double fault against Medvedev, he'll own you. You can't give away 3 points.
Okay. I
think we're going to get the final. I think we're getting the final we want.
You think? I think
at least 4.
And I think it's a coin flip. I really don't know who emerges here between these two.
So then you're all over Tsitsipas with line value then, because
you should take the dog then.
Minus. He's minus.
No, I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take the over.
Okay. No. I think I'm going Med in 4, Joker in what they call him, Comrade Cinderella. I think clock strikes 0 on Karatsev.
Are you not?
We didn't even bring up the funniest part about the Medvedev Tsitsipas, which is this is bullshit Russian beef. These guys have beef, legit beef.
Have beef.
Yeah.
We also have a 6-1 head, 6-1 head to head. So
he got beef, eat a pork chop.
Yeah. Are you not worried about the letdown factor, Whale?
I would be, but 2 years ago, Tsitsipas beat Federer and then came out the next and went toe to toe with Roberto Bautista Agut and beat him.
I hate that match, but yeah,
too stupid
to know he should be. Exactly. Yeah. It's exactly right.
He's that kid who he's too stupid to know he's tired. He's too stupid to know he's hurt. He's too stupid to know he's beaten. And he's not stupid. He's a smart person. He's an
airhead.
He has that airhead mentality where he's
a mimbo,
just living.
Right.
He's living in the moment. Like he has a short memory, and he just, I mean, obviously we've seen that. You gave him an opening, and he took care of business. And sets 4-5 last night.
Hopefully
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to Karatsev, and let's set this table appropriately. Karatsev is a dirty cheater. Period. Period. And I know in seriousness,
I mean, there's kind of proof.
Karatsev has had a very spotty past, very spotty, very credible allegations of match fixing in his background. Not the first time, by the way, that we've had a match fixer extraordinaire make a slam semifinal
against Djokovic.
I think, did he beat him to get there though?
He beat him
to get to the semi. But regardless, like, kind of weird that we've had two, guys that were for sure engaged in illegal bullshit, tarnishing the sport, have these amazing runs. Now, is the aftermath of this Karatsev run?
Chung?
Chung was a hero for the sport. He did not tarnish the sport. It's our South Korean hero. But no, more likely that Karatsev flames out against Djokovic and has a sort of a Cecchinato, just pathetic, fade into obscurity, or does he have put together a pretty impressive 2021 season after this showing, in your opinion, Kelly?
So I think maybe this is pie in the sky, but I'll give you my reasoning for it. I don't think he's going to go away like Cecchinato. I think that this is a great example of the way tennis and baseball are similar. In baseball, you have a ton of pitchers who have a no-hitter out of nowhere. There's like 250 no-hitters in the history of baseball, and a ton of them are by guys who are one-hit wonders. They're guys with a 5 ERA for their career, and they have
Dallas Braden.
Dallas Braden, perfect. They have that one special day where they have their everything, and it works because they have it in them.
On Mother's Day.
Yeah, sure. They make the majors. They're that good. I think there's so many tennis players out there who get a niggling injury, get a, whatever happens in their personal life, they never get to their peak. Mm-hmm. And then something happens and they can enjoy that peak. And this is what we're experiencing with Karatsev. For whatever reason, he wanted to throw away 5 years of his life fixing matches. You don't know what was going on in his personal life that required that. There's Cuban baseball players that give away tens of millions of dollars to get out of Cuba and spend their 5-10 years paying that off, right?
Sure.
We don't hear about that kind of stuff. It's all under the carpet, under the rug. So maybe that's all out of the way now and he can keep going. I think the difference between him and Cecchinato, just on the face of talent, is that he's doing this on a hard court.
Sure.
If you go back and look at last year when he really broke out after the pandemic, and maybe the pandemic is something that told him, hey, stop fucking around. It's time to get to work. But anyway, when he broke out last fall and late last summer, it was all on clay challengers.
Right.
That's when he made his run. He won 3 in a row all throughout the Czech Republic and Italy and stuff, and it was all on clay. And now he's doing it on hard court. Cecchinato, if you look it up, his career hard court record is like, his winning percentage is like 18%. 18. Like, he is really bad on a hard court. Karatsev now has 2 guns to go to work with. The majority of the tour is obviously, the vast majority of the tour is clay and hard courts, right? If he stays away from indoor hards and he stays away from grass, go play challenger events on clay during those weeks. And like, he's going to be able to get into all kinds of tour events now, just like Tennis Angren did, right? Like, you artificially bump your ranking for the next 2 years, basically. And like Tennis Angren's still floating on ranking points from 2 great Aussie Open runs.
Oh, he took a hit this year, though.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, Karatsev's going to have 18 months.
Stupid hard quarantine.
I think Karatsev sticks around for a while. I really do.
Okay, talk to me though about his run here, because any of these wins actually that impressive? I mean, FAA kind of faded. Grigor got hurt. I don't know if any of these are really that noteworthy. He beats up on Gianluca Maher in the in the
Monk.
first round.
Yeah.
Gerasimov 606-160. Like, yeah, yeah, he's okay, fine. He beats up on Diego Sebastian Schwartz. He beats up on Mighty Mouse on the fastest court Mighty Mouse will play on all season. Like
DSS is quietly becoming a hardcore player. I mean, and you do have a point. Like, these are not. He didn't beat anyone high end yet. Yeah, Grigor was carrying an injury there, and they're not like super impressive wins. But you're still winning 3 sets off of top 100 players. Like, it's a more impressive than anything he's done to date. So, I mean, you still have to give him some props for this. He likely just gets waxed tonight.
Yeah.
He might not even cover the 8. They're giving him 8 on the handicap. It could be a case where he does just get waxed by Novak, and then we have to wait and see. Like, I don't even know how the skin. We'll get to this with Kelly. We've talked about this. We're going to get to this. I don't even know what the tennis schedule looks like this. I was about to say, we'll see him at the Sunshine Double. Like, when are they even playing those?
Indian Wells looks like September.
Yeah. So I don't even know. Like, are we going to Clay next, or are there some hardcore coming up?
Yeah, I guess before moving off of this match and that matchup specifically, what are we pairing Djokovic 3-0 with? Like, what's the good parlay leg for that?
So I took
Central Florida.
I just took that straight up. Djokovic
Okay.
minus 150 for 3-0, but I also took Karatsev to cover +8. I think that he will keep it close. He's going to lose in straights. That's my guess, but I think he does keep it close. Just like some stats he has, I know maybe his quality of opposition has not been that great. He's breaking serve 42% of the time. Almost every other return game, he breaks serve. That's incredible. Now, Djokovic is serving far beyond his norms. He's acing people at an unheard of rate for his career. So maybe he just wipes the floor with Karatsev. But my guess is Karatsev gets through his serve a couple times. I could see him losing like 6-3, 6-3, 6-4.
Okay. All right. So I can get +147, pairing Djokovic -2.5 with Jen Brady money line. I like Jen Brady a lot tonight. Muchova really was the beneficiary of a is it really Muhova?
Well, I asked this question in our chat because it was 4 different pronunciations of her name.
The announcers, the announcers are they said it 4 different ways. Yeah. But I heard someone who actually I think knows who she is say Muhova.
Muhova.
I think it's Muhova.
Well, Muhova
commercial guy used that version of it. And I thought he was the worst one, but I guess he's right.
Muhova was the beneficiary of just a spectacular meltdown by Ash Barty 24 hours ago. And Muhova was not handling the heat especially well in that match. And I think Jen Brady, she can get more free points on her serve. I think she handles Muhova pretty comfortably in the first of the 2 semifinals. The other one is interesting.
Well, can I ask a question?
Kelly? Yeah, go ahead.
Good. Yeah, go ahead. Raise your hand, though.
Yeah.
Jen Brady.
Jen Brady, yeah. So just as a general tennis betting question, you have an outright on her, or you just had second quarter?
I had second quarter +650, so I'm home.
You're out. Okay.
I'm home.
I was just asking maybe about the idea of doubling down on your outright pick. Like, I have tried to stay away from that forever.
This is a good question for it because I have some 7-1 Osaka against Serena, and I have a little bit of an edge on Osaka given the money line, but I'm not going to double down because I'm a little nervous.
Noopsy has like 25 and 35 to 1 or something like that on Brady. Yeah. And he
got 40 to 1, I thought. At one point.
Maybe it's like 25 and 40, something like 40, he has 2 different outrights on her at different prices. And he said this morning, he's like, I believe she wins, but I have these outrights. There's no, he's like, but on the other side, he's like, I will, the answer to this question is if you have an outright and you believe they have an edge, the answer is, well, just don't hedge.
You don't hedge,
don't even think about hedging it then.
But last night is another great example. I had Rublev to be eliminated in the 4th round. I had Medvedev to win the quarter, both at better prices than I could have bet Medvedev in that match. But I was literally like, there's an edge here. Like, the market was way hot on Rublev. I would have made that price like +300-ish, and it was +2. It closed like around. I think I saw it as low as +180 at one point.
I was going to say +190 right before the match.
Yeah. So but I didn't swing on it, and I should have, and that would have made my whole one match would have made my whole tournament.
Yeah.
But
Andy was
that's fine.
getting on me. Has always been getting on me about this. Just bet your edges all the time. And like,
Yeah.
I see an edge on Medvedev tonight, and I dithered about it all morning, right? Like I was at my job doing my work, and I'm just like, do I do it? Do I not do it? Because I have an outright on him, and I potentially, go 0-2 tonight, lose the outright, lose the bet.
Yeah.
But fuck it, I bet it.
That's where the loss aversion. I mean, it's a you don't believe in cognitive biases. I know you've mentioned that, but like the loss aversion, like you're more worried about losing twice than you are about taking advantage of a mathematical edge that a tennis model that you've proven is successful over multiple years is telling you, it's semi-successful.
Yeah.
It had a shitty summer.
All right, it's very strong. Yes, very strong.
Yeah, so and it's really when it comes down to, and just for the listeners, and everybody has their own. And we will do a podcast. I've gotten like 3 questions in the last couple of days in the DMs about staking, about bankroll management. We will definitely get to an evergreen podcast about that. I've written down, and I've told those people, I've written down those ideas, and we'll get to them. But it does come down to your risk tolerance too.
Right.
Like some people just don't want to be outlaying that much on one match. Some people just aren't comfortable with that, and that's fine. Like I say play every edge, and that's something. Some people say you should go full Kelly and not. Not full Kelly doesn't mean looking like that. The Kelly criterion, betting as much as you think your edge is worth according to some math. Like you don't have to do that. Like find your risk tolerance and do what you want to do with it. But in Kelly's case, I am going to call him a pussy.
Okay, back to the other match tonight, the other semifinal. We have Osaka versus Serena. Going back in time. I used to do tennis preview videos for SBR. It was very guerrilla style on my phone with my sunglasses on outside all the time, just because I love talking tennis and I wanted to get the reps. And we had like 1,000 people would watch. These are up on YouTube. Maybe 2,000 people would watch total. If it was a really good one. And then the Serena Osaka U.S. Open final rolls around. And I was on a heater at that time. I was seeing the board so well. I was hitting correct scores, Nadal versus Del Potro, and Osaka and Serena calling their path correctly before the tournament and all that. And it got to the final, and I think I went on 30 minutes about Osaka has no chance. She may eventually beat Serena one day, but she's not going to beat her role model in her first ever Grand Slam final. This is ridiculous. She has no hope. She has no chance. But there was someone out there that believed in her. And that someone was our guest, Kelly. And I really told that story just to be like the most watched content that I've ever done in my life was that YouTube video. 100,000 people watched, and there are 200 comments of who is this idiot, doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Naomi Osaka queen emoji, just comment after comment after comment after comment, hysterical. And 100,000 people watched me be dead wrong about that final. Our guest Kelly was dead right. And you was a position you didn't hedge at all, right? You were like, no, Osaka is winning this, and you felt very strong. How do you handicap this match?
I'm a Osaka truther. I've been. So the reason I made that bet, she won Indian Wells that year, and I didn't know who she was at that time. I have followed women's tennis since unfortunately since the 80s, because I'm now
Steffi Graf and Monica Seles time. Yeah,
exactly. Rancho Sanchez Vicario, that's way back. But anyway, the point was, I stopped following it in the early teens because I tried betting on it, and I suck at betting. If you think I'm bad at betting on men's tennis, I lost boatloads of money betting on women's tennis. So I tried to steer my focus towards just one of them, see if it would help me be better at it. I still watch a lot of the top 10s and the ends of tournaments, but I definitely don't know the 50 to 100 ranked players. I didn't know who she was during that Indian Wells run. And the people in our chat were like, no, she's coming through. She's going to be good. So I bet that right after the Indian Wells tournament. and just watched her all summer, watched her play the U.S. Open, and was like, nah, she's like Serena Jr. Like she just is. She's a tank. So I love it. I think she is. I don't know how you can bet on her now. The value fucked out of her on outrights a lot.
You probably do it live, right?
Yeah. If she ever gets down in a first set, gets down a break, you bet on her all the time.
Yeah. I made 3 bets on this semifinal already.
You did?
Yes.
What?
I do.
Where are you at on this?
Because you did say this, and it is she is Serena light.
Yeah.
Or Serena heavy, honestly. She's built like a tank. Like she can slap the ball.
She's the heir apparent.
Yeah.
She's the heir apparent. I do believe she's better. I think she wins this, but we are looking at a match, and I don't want to say bad things about the fairer sex because there are plenty of men who will get down a set and a break and just mail it in.
Yeah.
And often lose another break and lose the second set badly. But it happens. Women's tennis, there are a lot of these where, especially in a high leverage situation where she's crying on the changeover and we're having the emotions.
Sure.
And they're
or just internally spiraling like Barty last night.
Just spiraling out of control. Neither of these women will ever do that.
So I kind of agree with that.
They have composure.
One of them won't.
Osaka's still young. Well, not till after the tournament. Till after Serena loses it on a line judge. But Osaka during play, she has a short memory. She's very unflappable, and both of these women are very unflappable. Yeah. So I bet over 22. I bet over 2.5 sets at like plus 130. I bet Osaka exact score 2-1 at about 3-1 for a price there. So I'm hoping for a good match. I'm hoping for 3 sets. Obviously, if we get to 3 sets and don't cash the 22, I'm going to be, if it's Serena in 3 sets in like 21 games or something ridiculous, I'll be kind of pissed, but at least I'll have my over 3. I
would say that I obviously will be cheering for Osaka. I don't have any money invested in this match.
I do now.
But if she goes down early, I'll bet her. I think that Wales right. Osaka is unflappable for the most part. Serena, though, I believe, and I've been spouting this off in various DM groups for a long time, ever since she didn't succeed in 2015 at the U.S. Open when she was going for the Calendar Slam.
Yeah.
She's never been the same, regardless of, kid, no kid. That U.S. Open cracked her. She lost to like Flavia Pennetta, I think. Is that right? Yeah.
That sounds right.
Brutal loss. And she's never been the same. She's lost all kinds of finals that she should have won, all kinds of semifinals that she should have won.
Oh, yeah.
If she wins.
Some of them non-competitive.
Yeah, exactly. Just blown out of the water. She gets flapped by she gets just thrown off her game by the easiest of things. The Osaka final in 2008 is a great example. She blew that way out of proportion, possibly tarnished like part of her legacy.
Very tarnished.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I don't consider her having 23 slams anymore.
She's 22. -1 for that.
I wouldn't mind if she wins tonight. Like, it won't break my heart. Like, I'd love to see the ascension of Osaka. Just take all the titles. That's great. But I'm enough of a believer in the fact that Serena was the best player, or maybe is the best player of all time. Just go get your 24 and be done.
Did you see those pictures? Someone had a picture of her. Again, this sounds weird, but someone had a profile of her and like her gullet or whatever, her chin, and like how heavy she was still after. This is something that's completely different from the men's game. She had a goddamn child. Yeah. Like and not only that, but she, you think about anyone who has a child, and Kelly, I know you have some kids, and we all know some people who've had some babies. There's a recovery time. She had a C-section, so you split her abs wide open. There's a lot of that's a big recovery for anybody, much less someone who needs to play, world-class athlete kind of shit. So it took a little while to get back. But then, comparing, even when she was back and she was healthy, she'd recovered from the birth, she was playing, like, she looks way more in shape now than she did then. Like, she has a couple long ways. And I do think the way we've seen her play in this tournament is indicative of, like, she wants one more. She wants at least one more.
So, like, it was me that posted those pictures of her chin. Because
I didn't want to out you.
I don't care. I took the picture from her at Wimbledon when she lost to Halep, and the picture of her in the whoever she played in the last round, in the fourth round. It's stark, the difference in her neck, her arms.
She also played Halep in the last round, yeah.
Oh, so maybe that's why I thought of it. Okay, that's what it was. So she played Halep at Wimbledon and here, and her body type is totally different. She is definitively in better shape now than maybe she's been in 2, 3, 4 years. So it wouldn't surprise me if she beats Osaka, and all the power to her. Go beat Jen Brady in the final, get your 24th, and ride off into parenthood, because it could be Osaka's tour moving forward. I'm fine with that. Let's get Sophia Kenin winning some more. Let's get Sabalenka one eventually. Like, next generation in the WTA too. Totally fine with that.
Serena's not winning enough free points. Her first serve is garbage right now, and that's going to be her undoing in this match. That's why Osaka's is the right side, in my opinion. And Osaka,
I have an Osaka future as well. So
to go back to Kelly's narrative nonsense, which actually is true. Like, you believe in Osaka's ability to find God mode level in a slam because she won her first ever final against her freaking hero, 23-time slam winner. She slayed the dragon the first time. And that is rare. And then from that to come back at the Australian Open and back it up with another consecutive slam as a young woman, like, that is awesome. And honestly, part of the issue with Serena, the reason she's not winning as many titles, the reason she's not as a clear favorite at these slams, the field is better. The women's field has gotten a lot better. And in fact, in the same breath, you can credit Naomi Osaka for being absolutely now the heir apparent on tour, by far the best hardcourt player among the women. She's going to be priced in the 200, 400 range pre-tournament in the next handful of hardcourt slams, is my guess. But Iga Swiatek at the French Open and her absolute dominance was equally impressive. And I think you probably are talking about these two women as your top two tennis players, maybe trading titles, 2 and 2 a year sort of thing, for the foreseeable future, because they were able to win in such impressive fashion over stacked fields and in ways that, really portend lots of future success, I think.
Are you taking offense to the fact that he's not even mentioning you're Canadian? And I know she's had a rough go of coming back. And
is she the third? Is this a 3 person?
Yeah,
I guess is the future of women's tennis? Yeah, three. There are 3. Yeah.
Is there a grass person though? Is there someone that can win Wimbledon on the regular on the female tour?
I don't think so.
No.
I'm giving this one to Azarenka. Throwback.
Ooh.
She's doing it for Leo. She doesn't have it anymore.
No,
you're right.
Party on grass might be good. Yeah, Kenin. I don't know. I don't think Svitolina's ever getting across the line, and I don't know if Kenin's ever getting back either. She was in hindsight, she was the beneficiary of a pretty fortunate draw last year, and she's played well below that quality sense.
Yeah.
So
will Kenin turn into Sloane Stephens, who lost to somebody this week I've never heard of?
Maybe.
Maybe. To be fair, it's women's tennis.
A lot of people get heard of.
Right. How did and that's a good point. You talk about Osaka and what she did after her first slam win, and then compare it to what Sloane did in her victory lap, where it was like, oh,
compared to almost anybody else. Like,
yeah, you're just gonna be bad now? Like, that's no fun. Yeah. I do, I cheer for American tennis. I cheer for young tennis players, and the same as on the men's side. Like, I like to see on the men's side, it's not like I have any men's American tennis players to really cheer for on the high end, but I do cheer for the young guns, and I cheer for some of these people. And that was disappointing by her to just like flame out like that, because it felt like, oh shit, we got another one. This is gonna be good.
Keys never got across the line. She looks like she's faded out of contention. It's a pretty quick turnaround for some of these women, which is wild. But
I think Brady continues to ascend. She's a top 10 player. So
what about Collins?
I think we've seen her best, in my opinion.
Risky.
I don't know if she has the top. I don't know if she has a sixth gear that she needs to get.
Are you paying attention to this WTA 250? Like, if Collins and Bianca both win tonight, you get a hell of a final tomorrow.
Yeah. No, Bianca needs to get a couple more matches under her, get her legs under her, because we need her in kind of in form for some of the better tennis later this season.
And we still have like a 16-year-old out there as well who has a lot of tennis in front of her.
Which one?
However old, what's her
Coco Gauff?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. She's got huge potential.
She's got a lot of time to get it figured out yet.
Yeah, I worry about people that break out that early, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you peaked in high school, Cal.
So speaking of the rest of this season, it's a little uncertain how this is going to unfold. In fact, I was kind of shocked that I heard that Montpellier starts next week. So they're really going to do this indoor hard court swing through Europe. The Golden Swing in South America is on, apparently.
Doing the whole 9 yards, man.
They're doing the whole 9 yards. So basically, they've just shifted the tennis calendar back to whatever happens after the Aussie Open is now happening in February and March.
Yeah,
as far as we know,
we just have every tournament in Florida. They don't give a shit down there right now.
It's a little different. They're still doing the Golden Swing. They chopped off one of the legs. They got rid of I don't know which one they got rid of, but they have Cordoba starts next week. They're doing Rio. They're doing Santiago. So whichever one.
Buenos Aires.
Yeah, Buenos Aires is out, but the other three are still on. So doing the Golden Swing. They're doing the indoor hard court swing. Montpellier, Marseille, and I forget the third one.
Rotterdam, the big boy.
Rotterdam, yeah. And then the way they have changed it is they've added a tournament in Singapore next week, which is a shit show. Yeah.
What?
So it's a 250 event. It's being held where the women's finals used to be held.
Okay.
At Singapore indoor venue. And currently right now, I don't know if people won't remember this, but I wrote about a tournament in Pune last year. India was before the pandemic happened. And the highest seed that attended was Benoit Paire. It was like 47th in the world.
Sure.
And the draw was filled with guys that wouldn't even make like a challenger draw. And the Singapore event right now only has 8 participants in the top 100.
Oh, my God.
So you have to fill out 28 people, and only 8 are in the top 100. You're going to have guys that, like, I've tweeted this out before. I'm really comfortable with the top 100. I'm pretty familiar with, like, 100 to 300. You get beyond the top 300, and I mean, I got a full-time job. I got kids. I don't know all those guys.
Are these real people who made up names?
What is the Moroccan tournament? It reminds me of that.
Marrakesh, yeah.
Marrakesh. Or not only, like, I remember we were doing previews for that back then. And even in the tennis chat, we were joking about, like, every tournament has, you have some bag people where it's like, all right, this just guy's getting paid to come here. You have some middle of the road guys where it's like, all right, they need the points, they need the money. You have some younger guys trying to make a name and make a run in a smaller tournament. And then they throw in these wild cards, and it's always a couple local guys. And these 2 Moroccan guys were ranked like 1,000. And I think they both won their first matches or something stupid.
Yeah, one of them beat Dimitrov, and we found out after the match, Dimitrov had a paid engagement in Monaco like that night, and so he was like, obviously he was gonna freaking lose. Like he tanked. He was plus 5, plus 1,000. For this Moroccan kid.
10-1 underdog. The guy that I couldn't tell you his name right now. I'd have to go look up either of these men. That's
the other guy that lost was Phil Kohlschreiber, and he was in a tournament the next week in Germany. Was like, I got to get back to Germany.
Go home,
and if this last hour hasn't gotten you excited to bet tennis, like I'm sure talking about shit like that happening, like in what other sport would be like, oh man, boy, the Packers played bad today. And then it was like, oh, Rodgers had a ball.
He had to film he had to film a double check commercial.
Yeah, he was in a movie.
Double check
he had to hit
a State Farm commercial he had to get to. Okay, so real quick. Speaking of Morocco and the Monte Carlo, which is the first of the Euro clay swing, still on normal time, like end of April. We're going to Europe.
Yeah, so like they're gonna do the Golden Swing. They're gonna do the European indoor swing. They're gonna do Acapulco and Dubai before. And then So Indian Wells is out, but they're still going to close March with Miami, which is when that usually happens. And then you start April with the run up to Roland Garros, and all that stuff is still on. Like Monte Carlo, Barcelona, Munich, Rome, Madrid, all still on.
Awesome.
I think the only change is they canceled Houston, which is the American clay event that happens.
Yeah, that always awful.
Yeah, the one that just gets rained out half the time.
The brown clay of
Steve
Houston.
Johnson wins it, and it's terrible. They canceled that, and they threw a tournament into Marbella, Spain.
Interesting.
So I think
I'm assuming that's clay.
Oh yeah.
No, and the Houston. First off, the Houston Open sucks.
Yes.
It needs to get a roof. But and it's always a weird one. There's always some some random player. Like, didn't Nishikori play there because he was coming off an injury?
Yes, he did.
It's like what is going on with it? It's like a dumb challenger, and we have a always hurt player.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Okay. That's great. Great recap. Very excited for clay season. Real quick, what kind of price are we going to see for Nadal at the French Open? And do you think he wins his 33rd title?
I
don't know. I made that up. I'm assuming he's up to 33 there. Is that a little overestimated? I can't remember.
The plus 120?
It'll be plus money.
It'll be the 2 seed because Joker's not giving up the 1 forever.
I don't think he's going to be the 2 seed.
Nadal?
He won't be. If Medvedev wins the Australian Open, he passes Nadal. And if Nadal then does not play because he has no incentive to play the hardcourt season, he might show up in Miami because he's contractually obligated to because it's a Masters 1000, but he's not going to play the rest of February or early March. And
he likes Acapulco because he gets run for his camp down in Mexico.
Sure. Okay. Maybe he shows up in Acapulco and gets 500 points. But if Medvedev does good in Miami, he stays ahead of Nadal. And Nadal is in the mode, I believe, the same as Djokovic, where they're going to stop caring about Masters 1000 tournaments and they're going to stop caring about ATP 500 tournaments because they are Barcelona. Except Barcelona. He has to win those 3 events every year.
His name's on the damn court. It's his court.
He can't stop caring about those run-ups to the – he has like 4 titles between those 3 tournaments.
Yeah. He's got over 10 in all 3. Maybe over 11 now, right? Double decker.
Yeah. Except for Madrid.
But I think he'll pull back on those events because they care about the number 20. And Nadal's only chance, it was proven last night, the only chance he has is to keep winning Roland Garros every year until he basically is in a wheelchair. So I think he'll put everything into winning Roland Garros.
You keep making the Flushing Meadows slower and slower.
Yeah, he's not going to do it. He's too wore out by then. He's got 2 gifted U.S. Opens in 2017 and 2019. If he gets another one, I might stop watching tennis.
You're not a Nadal fan. I understand. Okay.
It's unbelievable how he was gifted to though.
So you're on record. What Andy, make some odds for me between me and Kelly. We'll make a friendly bet that Nadal only ever wins more French Open. So basically, he is, the prop is wins a non-French Open slam. Yes, no. What is the price?
A non-French Open slam? I thought you were going to throw in like Madrid, Barcelona shit. I'm like, he's winning one of those. No. So him to. So I fully don't understand the bet. What if he doesn't
for
win
the rest
anything?
of his career? Then Kelly wins with no.
Yeah.
Okay. So wins. So either wins only French Opens.
Yeah.
Or wins
or none
again
or nothing.
This is like a 3-way bet.
No, it's only 2 ways. He either he wins an Australian Open, a Wimbledon, or a US Open again in his career, or he does not.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna put the no on winning those 3 pretty high. Like only French Open. If he wins another slam, it's only French Opens minus 500.
Okay. All right. I will. So what am I getting? Plus 500. Let's do a big free. So I'll play.
That was kind of presumptive.
Okay. So I'm going to get 5-1. I'll put like 10 cases of Pepsi on this.
10 cases of Pepsi. I could use some.
Ship him Coke if you lose, just to so you can throw it away.
Yeah, I don't want the Pepsi. We'll figure out some other sticks. But we'll figure out some other sticks. Okay, 5-1. We'll let you marinate that. We'll make a side bet, in a friendly manner.
You're a wine drinker. I'll get you $500 worth of California Napa Valley wine. You get
now we're talking.
$100 worth of.
I thought you were going to say California Pizza Kitchen.
I love this. I love it. Done. Yeah. Done. 5-1 for Nadal to ever win another slam.
There should be vig, and I should be collecting it for facilitating this.
Well, yeah, we'll send you some wine. It'll be a vig's worth.
We'll take a wine and a Pepsi.
Shot glass, duct tape up.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I like that. Okay, the couple quick hitters then. Did Federer ever win another slam? Yes or no?
No. He had his chance. He wrote about it extensively. He planned the entire 2019 season around winning Wimbledon. He was up 40-15, and he fucking blew it and cost me $500. He never wins another slam. I was standing in front of my TV. I was this close to it. I was sweating, and it's just unbelievable.
Joker was 50-1 live. For Novak Djokovic, live was 50-1. That's how improbable that comeback was. That was unbelievable.
I muted the TV.
Championship points.
I muted the TV. I laid back. I looked at my phone, and I'd had it start on Flash Score. So I closed. I didn't watch this. I couldn't watch, and I waited for the signal to come. Never did.
I just wanted to I literally wrote about it on January 4th, like the first blog of the year. I was like, listen, Federer's not going to do well at any tournament because he's going to save all his energy. I put this bet in. Here's the ticket. Like, I was locked into that. I just wanted to write about that.
Do you not think that that's part of his plan in the run up to this year's Wimbledon?
It doesn't matter. He's 39 years old. It's the same problem that Djokovic is going to have tomorrow.
You sound like me talking about Tom Brady ever winning another Super Bowl last offseason.
Hey, Tom Brady's got 53 teammates.
Federer He's also 43 years old. He's 43 years old. He's changing teams. He doesn't get Belichick anymore, and he's going to go win a Super Bowl. This is
the best receiving core he's ever had.
I'm just saying.
By far.
This is a good. Hey, last time Federer had a good long rest. What happened? He showed up in Australian Open. He was 17 ranked, and he fucking won. He won.
It's like 2017, man.
The Aussie 2017 tournament.
Who was not in?
At Wimbledon 2017.
Joker.
Joker got popped by Istomin. Yeah, he didn't beat Joker on the way there, but he beat Nadal in a best of five. He beat Nadal. Nadal had owned his soul for like a year and a half. He hadn't beaten Nadal head to head, and he beat him in a best in five. He beat him in five in that final.
Kelly, watch this. Watch this. I muted Drew.
Yeah, thank you.
I've never done that.
Djokovic won Roland Garros and basically quit playing tennis for 8 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I like how hard you're pointing at the camera when you're doing this. If you are listening to this in podcast form, maybe go find this exact moment on the YouTube stream. Kelly is heated.
Okay. I'm not saying that he's going to win, but I'm saying that there are some parallels, and we shouldn't dismiss it out of hand. If 43-year-old Tom Brady can win a Super Bowl, I need to recalibrate what's possible.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're old and you have a lot of money and you have science at your disposal, age is just a number. Age is just a number.
Can get that sort of pass rush from his
if he can get whatever Kobe Bryant got injected into his knees in Germany.
You don't think he did?
Maybe, yeah. That maybe, like, I just don't see it happening. There's too many more landmines to navigate.
Okay. It is a tougher field. It is a lot tougher. The men's tournament is just the quality at the top is a lot higher.
It's hard.
But other than Tsitsipas, I'm not sure if any of these guys have the game for grass. Who can play at the net? Who's got the bomb and serve? Like, there's not really anybody that stands out to me besides Tsitsipas. I think Federer can at least threaten. He can at least give us an entertaining run. He's going to need the seeding. He's going to need the draw. They're going to, like, what if they give him a draw like Barty got? They put all the good players in Djokovic's quarter,
I would make the case, like, pie in the sky argument. The next 2 or 3 Wimbledons and Roland Garroses are won by Djokovic and Nadal, and the hardcourt slams get split amongst Team, Tsitsipas, and Medvedev, and Rublev, and Berrettini. I could see that for 2021, 2022. And
so you think Wimbledon is Djokovic to lose? Is what you're saying? Wimbledon is Djokovic's to lose.
Kelly first. What would your price be right now? I don't even care what round it is. Let's just say it's quarterfinals or later. I'm assuming it would have to be. It could be quarterfinals because of where Federer's ranking would be.
It could be the 4th round.
On grass, let's just say quarterfinals or later on grass. So they've played a few matches. We're almost the second week, or we're there on grass in the All England Tennis and Croquet Club. Federer and Joker, and Federer has played well up to this point. What are you pricing that match at?
Djokovic is like 175.
I would say minus 140. I think like minus 140. The betting market's coming
140 would get destroyed.
The betting market's coming in for Federer. It always does.
I'd be on Djokovic.
The books would like that.
I just think that when's the last time Federer beat Djokovic at Wimbledon? 2012?
It's been a while.
It's been a real while. I just don't think it's happening. I think Djokovic, because of the such a small distribution of grass tournaments, the problem the next gen's going to have is they just don't get the reps to get up to speed on grass. So you're like, it used to be the cohorts were all the same. McEnroe and Connors, Lendl and whoever you want to compare Lendl with, like Edberg maybe, and then Agassi and Sampras, all the same age. So they have the same complement of grass experience. So Wimbledon was able to switch around a bunch. Boris Becker and Lendl, you can throw them together. The issue that the next gen has now is Djokovic has 15 years worth of Wimbledon experience and London All England Club experience, the Queen's Club or whatever they played the week before. Federer's got 20 years of experience. Like Medvedev's played 5 grass tournaments his whole life. Like he doesn't have the exposure to grass to get through. I think Djokovic has got 2 or 3 years worth of lead time to win Wimbledon. And I think they both get beyond 20, and they do it because Nadal keeps winning Roland Garros maybe for 2 more years before a team can catch him. And Djokovic wins Wimbledon probably for 2 more years before somebody can catch him. And it wouldn't surprise me if neither one of them win a hardcourt slam again.
I wouldn't mind this. I could live in Kelly's future.
Okay.
There you go. Writing science fiction over here.
I think it's
going to be exciting.
I think Tsitsipas gets his first slam at Wimbledon, and I think it happens in the next 3 years.
That's
okay. 3 years from now, yeah.
And in fact, if Tsitsipas squeaks by Medvedev no, I don't think he can win this week, but I think he can get some reps against Djokovic and kind of start to figure out what his game is on this type of surface, this type of speed, and that will serve him well when he beats Djokovic in the final this year.
Did you hear when the commentators was a female commentator? It wasn't Chris Everett. I don't know who it was. It was an Australian woman. She said that the Rod Laver court is playing faster than Wimbledon center court this year.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
Really?
It's that fast. So that's a good theory maybe that Tsitsipas could. Do you think the Roland Garros 5-set loss helped Tsitsipas or hurt him against Djokovic?
Getting to 5 has to feel pretty good. Like pushing him there, that definitely helps him. It hurts to lose, but to take a player of that caliber, I mean, possibly the best ever, and if not top 5 all time, to take him to 5 at that point in your career, like that has to be a feather in your cap.
So your 2020 calendar slam, Kelly, looks like Joker, Nadal, Joker team. Oh, I'm sorry, Medvedev, Nadal, Joker.
What year are you talking about?
This year.
Right now, we're starting with Sunday.
Yeah, you're saying Medvedev, Nadal, Joker team. That's your calendar. Yes, your calendar year.
Bring it. Mine 4 different ones.
Mine will be Medvedev, Nadal, Joker, Schwartzman. The breakthrough. U.S. Open's wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see maybe he gets a nice draw. You see Rublev finally get through at the U.S. Open.
Avoid Medvedev, yeah.
Yeah, if maybe Medvedev is on the opposite side of the draw, he gets taken out. You don't have to face everybody.
You probably have to avoid Medvedev and Djokovic because they have such a similar game. But yeah, if he was in the bottom half of the draw and Medvedev and Joker were in the top half and Rublev somehow got Nadal, maybe a tired, wore out Nadal.
Okay.
And then everybody's too tired to fight Mighty Mouse in the final.
Crazier stuff's happened, but it's been a really, really, really long time. All right, man. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Before we ride off into the sunset, I guess, what is your plan for tackling NASCAR this year? Are you going to try to do cap 2 sports at the same time? Wear 2 hats?
On Twitter, that seems like the plan. Oh, I'm so sad. I went 7-1, in head-to-heads instead of 8-0.
But I could have had a winner outright in the toughest and the most liquid NASCAR market of this season.
Yeah.
Oh, my Magic did great tonight.
It was heartbreaking though. Like even to go 7-1 in the first race of the year,
rounding third on the final lap. Do you remember it? Did you want me to relive it for you?
No, I've rewatched it 25 times. I watched the interview breakdown with Logano. He went on some Fox TV show and talked to these people about it and broke it down actually really eloquently. And he was much calmer than I was about it.
Okay.
Anyway,
well,
you're going to go forward. You're going to be writing NASCAR articles, playing most of the races.
I'm probably going to do every race as long as it stays profitable. I went back and diagnosed obviously what happened last year. I capped it from the restart in May all the way to the restart of tennis. I was hitting 60, you can go look at the spreadsheet. It's public. I hit 60. All the plays are public, right? I put everything on Twitter. I hit 61% of my 61% of my head-to-heads. It was it did crazy good. And then tennis restarted. I did 3 consecutive weeks of NASCAR and tennis. And I think I went 4-12 in head-to-heads. And ruined all my profit.
Right.
So
it's tough to do 2 at a time.
Yeah. I have the data though now. The models basically, I tweaked it a little bit. I did learn a few lessons. So I think it's a great learning experience in finding out what data matters and what data doesn't. A great learning experience in the idea of public data versus data that maybe isn't available to everybody. So I'm enjoying that. Going on your podcast and last year and talking about NASCAR brought so many people to my DMs with ideas. And, it's the one time, I get a lot of shit on Twitter all the time about from trolls about how bad I am at tennis. But the NASCAR,
you kind of lean into it.
Those are all my
the NASCAR people that approached me, other than 1 or 2 guys that were dicks about it, most of the 98% of the people have been super nice about it and have pointed out hey, you should check out this website, or you should look up this stat, or check this stat out and see if it's any kind of relation to winning races or head-to-heads. It's been phenomenal. So I have such a checklist now of things I need to work through to see if they work, because I can only back test so much. The real advice to anybody out there is if you're going to do something with a model, do it for a year and don't bet. Just watch.
Paper bet it. I talked about that with someone earlier. If you don't think back testing is enough, paper test forward. Just paper bet. By paper bet, I mean just don't bet it. You write down what you're betting, what you would be betting, instead of pissing money away if you're not supremely confident.
So I will say,
don't just look at your results. Look at your closing line value.
And look. Yeah, exactly. Look how the market reacted to your plays. Look at opening and closing numbers on the plays that you made. Look at opening and closing numbers on plays you avoided. Look, really take into account everything as you get closer to actually. Some people do that, or some people just say, well, I'm going to play it really small at first because I want to actually have skin in the game. It feels different. So, and Kelly did bring up an interesting point.
I have never successfully paper bet in my life. I can't take a lesson out of it unless I have skin in the game.
I have to have skin in the game. Yeah. I just make really small bets if I'm testing something. I can't do the
same.
It just doesn't work in my brain.
Yeah. I
just don't give a shit. I just can't care.
I'll do some lunch money bets, whatever. But it's got to be something.
And Kelly brought up an interesting point there too, as far as the people sliding into his DMs and saying, "Hey, have you checked this out? Hey, have you checked that out?" Don't ever feel like you shouldn't do that. Even if you think somebody is way more advanced than you, I've had some really cool DMs on the same right. Like, hey, check this out, or look at this website, or I wrote this article. Like that's the, you spoke about the trolls and the dicks and the, just the real shitheads of Twitter and the internet in general, but there's some really cool people out there. And that's the fun part about everything we do, is the engagement and meeting some cool people who are doing some of the same stuff as us. And
and who knows,
it all helps.
If you have good tennis information, if you're handicapping tennis well, slide into the DMs for any one of us, and the next thing you know, you might be in the most elite tennis chat that ever existed, that's been going on for 4 years. It's a very, very exclusive. 5 years.
It's a 5-year anniversary. That's awesome.
Very exclusive. It's probably right now, because it was right around.
No, it is.
It's like right.
This is when I came in 5 years ago. Like, actually,
it was before Indian Wells, but it was after the Aussie. Yeah.
Yep. I sent some evites out for the anniversary. And then real quick, I did forget to mention this because we do have a Canadian. I want a quick opinion on Bill C-218. I did some reading. I was on a podcast this afternoon with a different Canadian. Apologies for cheating on you. But he admitted to me after the podcast, he had the TV on the whole time on mute with Parliament, the Parliament channel, or whatever the hell you call it. We call that's the Funkadelic. But he had them on. And, he said, like, I'm paying attention to this closely because this is big. They tried to do, so I read up on this, and basically it's a, legalization like we had down here. And they tried to do this about 10 years ago almost. But the MLB and NHL were strongly opposed to gambling at that point. It cleared Congress. It didn't make it through the Senate because of some heat from the leagues, whereas now the NHL has partners in some of these gambling companies. The same thing going with baseball. It's a lot more free flowing down here. Are we going to be done with gas station gambling up there?
I don't think so. So I will say, just to add to what you're talking about, the original bill was brought forward by a guy named Joe Crow-Martin, who was an MP, I don't know a congressman, what you guys call congressman. And it was unanimous in the House of Representatives, or what you would call Congress, went to the Senate. And like you say, all the league presidents, whatever league commissioners came up and spoke in front of the Senate in 2014, I think. And it's really Gary Bettman's fault. It's hard to explain to a non-Canadian how intrinsic hockey is to the Canadian society or whatever, especially the Maple Leafs. And, that's where our government's all centered around Ottawa and Toronto. And they said, there would be match fixing in Leaf games if you had single sports betting. And so they shut it down. It's taken this long to get it back. There's actually 2 bills, which is why I think it's not going to work. Bill C-218, which is what you just brought up, is a private member's bill brought forward by just a congressman, or what we call a member of parliament. There's also Bill C-31, so you can go read about that. That's brought forward by the actual federal government. The reason for the difference is because there's horse racing in Canada, and horse racing is federally governed, and Canadian politics is such a shit show that the overseeing committee, or the whatever you want to call it, the people that oversee horse racing, is the Agricultural Ministry of Canada. It's so stupid that they've decided the welfare of the horses and the drugs they take to stay healthy have to be administered by people who work for the government in the Ministry of Agriculture. So now they want to protect this industry and these people because they're afraid if you legalize gambling, people stop betting on horses. Why would you bet on horses if I could bet on the Leaf game? So it might be true. So the federal government has a competing bill, Bill C-31, which will legalize gambling, but somehow they want to protect pari-mutuel horse racing, whereas Bill C-18 is a private members bill. If you look at the history of government-sponsored bills versus private members bills that pass, it's 60-30. So the chances are the government's going to try harder to get Bill C-31 passed. If we get fucking government issued licenses to government casinos, you're going to have 125 jig easy every time. You're never going to have -110 or -105. Canada is so screwed up with the way they control vices Like in Ontario, I don't go to the local convenience store to buy a beer. I have to go to the liquor control board. Like it's all government owned. Socialist to you guys.
Well, at least the sales tax is low, right?
Yeah. 13%, baby. So no, my hopes aren't high. Even if one of the bills gets passed, there's too many hands in the cookie jar. There's too much of there's a lot of states, like you only have 18 or 20 states, right, that have passed it so far. I assume Ontario and Canada at large would be in a similar boat to California, where there's just too many needs to be serviced by the billions of dollars of tax revenue. Everybody wants their hand in it. There's too many people who want to protect their interests. The proponents of the bills have been comparing us favorably to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has like 12 million people, 13 million people. Ontario alone is 13 or 14 million, so very on par with the population of Pennsylvania. And we already have a casino entrenchment like Niagara Falls and Windsor, and some of the like native reserves around Toronto have like vibrant casinos. So the infrastructure is already there if we chose to move ahead. The question, though, is just how do you distribute the licenses where they're not controlled by the government and you're not paying $125 on a favorite. And
I mean, we see that down here, but it sounds like if you guys go through this, you're going to end up with like the states that are letting the lotteries run this, and shit's running wild with they want it. So they want to make sure they're making their nut no matter what. So you're having huge vig. Yeah. I guess I hope your bills fail.
They probably will. The governments are used to their parlay cards. So the fun thing about the bills, if you read them, all the information that's come out, they suspect that the Canadian government brings in between $500 million and $1 billion a month in parlay card money. And
get the fuck out of here.
They mentioned Bet365 and Bovada by name. They're taking roughly $4 billion a year out of the Canadian economy. Bettors like myself who just lose money into Bet365 or $4 billion a year.
Just like you used to be.
Yeah, used to be. So, I mean, the money's there to be won, but whether it actually happens or not, it's hard to believe.
Okay. Well, you're going to keep
like our government's pretty normal.
Yeah. We'll have a Bitcoin sports betting exchange world. Sidestep all this anyway. So
don't really realize is you guys were so lucky. I know you had to suffer through 4 years of the president that you had, but you were at least had your branches of government in lockstep. The Republicans had the White House and the House of Commons, and the majority of the Senate, I think, when the bill was repealed in 2018. We don't have that. We have a Senate that's controlled by the Liberals, and we have a congressman level, we'll call the House of Parliament, that's not controlled by the Liberals. They're a minority government right now. And just the idea that it's going to get through all these levels with all these like warring politicians to agree, it's just astronomical, the odds of that happening.
I guess I do feel lucky that we got that passed through, considering how hard it is to get a bill passed these days.
Yeah.
And not like
all right. Well, you're gonna keep handicapping tennis in an extraordinarily transparent way. Yeah. That's why they call you Mr. Transparent. They don't call you that for nothing. Check out Kelly's stuff on his Twitter timeline. You will find it all. Links to his in-depth articles breaking down the ATP, NASCAR, anything else he finds interesting in the sports betting landscape. Thursday night football totals. Once we get around to NFL coming back, all the good stuff. Kelly's got his finger on the pulse of it all. One of the OGs of the Deep Dive podcast. Thank you for joining us again tonight, Kelly. Any final words for the audience before I play the ending music?
No.
Before I hit the tunes.
Hit the music, Drew.
All right. Best of luck, guys. Nice job, Kelly. Great work.
What's Canadian C-SPAN called? Like, what's your channel? You have to unmute yourself. I don't know. He's not easy to figure out how to unmute.
You muted me.
It's an auto mute when I play the music. I think that got a little spirited in the middle there, talking tennis. That was great. I think people will enjoy that.
I can get a little over anything.